5-year retirement plan. Hey everyone, Adam Bergman here, tax attorney and founder of IRA Financial. And on today's podcast, 5-year retirement plan? Really? Possible? Well, it's a start. So what I want to do on today's podcast is basically say, there's no 5-year retirement plan. Okay, I get this all the time. I hear from financial advisors. I hear it from clients of all different ages. And Adam, I need to come up with a 5-year retirement plan. 5 years. I'm willing to save for 5 years, really focus. And in 5 years, shebang, right? I should have a lot of money and I'm set. Wrong. There's no such thing as a 5-year retirement plan. Maybe a 30, 40, maybe 25-year retirement plan, but not a 5-year retirement plan. Okay. I'm just going to be honest. You're not going to get anywhere with a 5-year retirement plan. Just not possible. Why? Because the principles of the US retirement system are based off time and deferral. Meaning the more time you put into the system, the more you put in, the better you invest, the more money that will defer and grow in the retirement system. And because the US retirement system, IRAs, 401ks, are not subject to taxation on the income and gains generated from the retirement investments, that triggers what's known as compounded returns, which is what generates retirement wealth. Okay. The rule of 72, if you generate a 9% rate of return, your money doubles every 8 years. Generate a 10% rate of return, your money will double every 7.2 years. Okay. Why? Because your money is not subject to tax. If you took a taxable account and did the same investments as a tax exempt account, you probably have 50 to 60% less money, just based off your tax rate, of course. But you can understand, right? Simple mathematics, put $100 in and you owe 30% tax, you're left with $70 on $100 of gains. If you did that in a retirement account, all the $100 of gains would flow back to the retirement account without tax. That's known as deferral, tax-free investing in the case of the Roth. And that is the primal way of taking advantage of the power of compounded returns with, according to not me, but Albert Einstein, Warren Buffett's the 8th wonder of the world. So I'm going to show you some examples, and just being honest, 5 years is not the answer. Okay. It's a start. It's good. If you want to break up your retirement planning in 5-year stages, God bless you. In fact, that's okay to say, you know what? Every 5 years, I'm going to kind of look, peek, and see kind of what I have and, dream of what I will have in the future. But if you are thinking that you're going to listen to this podcast or watch the podcast on YouTube, say, hey, this tax lawyer is going to tell me a secret and how in 5 years, I'm going to have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars tax-free in an IRA, a Roth IRA. No, that's not the answer. And that's not what I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to lie to you. I promise. I don't lie to my kids. I don't lie to my wife. I don't lie to you guys. This is time. Okay. Anything worthwhile in life takes time, whether it's working on a relationship, family, business, making money in retirement, savings, investing. It takes time, right? If you look at great private equity hedge funds, they're 5 to 7 year lockups, right? You may generate 20, 30% returns, but you don't buy it and sell it the next day. We saw what happened in crypto and some meme stocks when that happened, when the asset went up 40% in one day. Over a long term, it's generally, most cases, dropped well below what the individual paid for it. So in my experiences, and 25,000 clients, $3.5 billion in assets, I've seen it. It takes time. Okay. But the good news is, if you're willing to put in the time, you're willing to be consistent, you're willing to make contributions into an IRA, a Roth IRA, or 401k, it's almost guaranteed that you will be an IRA millionaire. So I'm going to go through some examples to really explain why the US retirement system is not a 5-year plan, but it's more like a 20 to 40-year plan. Now, I know that's a big number to digest. You may be listening to this and, oh man, Adam, I'm 30. In 40 years, I'm going to be 70. Like, who cares? Let me live my life. Like, I don't care what's going to happen in 40 years. Like, the world may be over. Maybe we'll have another pandemic. Who knows? Be a nuclear, God forbid, a nuclear war. Like, I don't care. I'll take the extra few $1,000s a year that you're telling me to save in an IRA, and I'll blow it. I'll go on vacation. I'll buy myself a nice watch or go for nice dinners or go to Vegas and gamble. Who cares what happens in the future? Well, that's a loser mentality. Okay, because you're going to care, because you're going to live till 75, 80. That's just average age life expectancy. Okay, it's going to happen. Unfortunately, I'm telling you, I'm almost 50. It goes a lot faster than you think. When you're in your 20s and 30s, you think people in their 40s, 50s, 60s are old and has-beens, but it's comes quick. It's good. I mean, it's great to get older. The alternative isn't as good, but it goes fast. Okay, so think about it. I'm only asking to make minor sacrifices during the course of the next 20 to 40 years. I'm not saying you don't need to go on vacation. I'm not saying don't buy a car. I'm not saying don't go to Starbucks. I'm not saying don't go to vacation. Just saying you need to allocate for the future. And it's not just for you. Selfishly, if you say, I don't care about myself, I'm good. Well, think about your family. Think about your kids, right? All this money, if you don't need it, your kids would love it. You'd be able to potentially buy your kids a home, pay for your kids' college, your grandkids' college, grandkids' elementary school, grandkids' private school. Like, there's a lot of great stuff you can do with this money. And based off compounded returns, it's going to grow free. So let's do some examples and then talk about 5 years versus 20 or 30 years. So let's start, you're 21, you put in $1,800 a year. It's like $5 a day around. And you say, you know what, I'm gonna do $1,800 a year from 21 to 72, or let's just say 70. Okay. We'll play around with these numbers. And I am going to estimate that I'll have an 8% rate of return, which if you look at the S&P 500 for the last 100 years, it's over 10%. I'll say my tax rate's 25%, just so you can see the difference between a tax deferred account and a taxable account. And at age 70 years old, assuming an $1,800 a year from 21 to 70, that's a lot of years, almost 50 years, I would have $954,000 and 616 tax free. $954,616 tax free at age 70 years old from just putting in $1,800 a year. If I did in a taxable account, I'd only have $491,000, so less than half. Okay. So right there, that's a great example to show you. If you just said, you know what, screw the IRA, I'll just do it in a taxable account, you're going to have half the money you would have if you did an IRA or Roth. Now, if you said, you know what, Adam, $1,800, I could have a lot of fun. That's like 10 nice dinners, or maybe it's a trip to Vegas, trip to Miami. Who cares about $954,000 when I'm 70? I don't care. I'll be fine. My kids will be fine. It's their problem. Well, that's a loser mentality. I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it's someone who's almost 50. If maybe I hope I didn't think that in my 20s, but if I did, I would tell myself, if I can go back in time, to say, you're a loser. You need to think about the future. You need to think about your family. And $1,800 a year is money, but listen, it's a minor sacrifice to get almost $1 million tax free when you're older. Now, God willing, you're super successful. You don't need that $1 million. Great. Your kids, when you pass, your spouse can use it. Your kids can use it tax free. They'd have 10 years to pull it out tax free. They can use it to buy a house. They can use it to pay for their college debt for their kids, whatever. It's $1 million. That's money. So that's only on $1,800, right? So let's say you just did 21 to 26 years old, right? 5 years. Okay. 8% rate of return. You only have $10,559. I agree. If you're thinking about a 5-year plan, not worth it, right? $10,000, who cares? Can't do anything with it. So that's why the retirement system is not a 5-year retirement plan. It's a 20 to 40-year plan. Anyone that tells you, hey, do these things for the next 5 years, you're set, are lying to you. As a tax attorney, I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to give you the cold, hard truth. It takes time. It's almost guaranteed the returns, but it takes time. Okay, so let's do some more examples. Instead of 21, you're 31, and you're going to retire at 70, and you're going to put in, instead of 1,800, you say, you know what, I think I can do like $4,000 a year. Okay, 8% rate of return. You would have, at age 70, you would have $955,000. That's starting 10 years later at 31, but putting in $4K a year and not even increasing it as the maximum contribution limits go up, just keeping it static from 31 to 70, $4,000 a year, $955,000. Again, pretty good money. That's a 39-year run, and you're going to have $955,000. Pretty good. Now, if you did, instead of 4,000, you were able to do 5,000. Okay. Now you're talking $1.2 million. Okay. That's real money, right? You're an IRA millionaire. Okay. This is starting at 31, 5K a year. Now, 5K is money. You can do a lot of great things with $5,000. So I'm not saying it's painless, just saying it's not super painful. Okay, the 5K, yeah, you can do a lot of cool stuff with that. I get it. But if you just think long term and think about what you can do for your future, for your family, for your kids, for your spouse, that $5,000 a year, which you would love to spend, right? Who wouldn't? But if you can just kind of cut some corners, save some extra money, and put that away, you'd have $1.2 million on 8% return. If you got 8.5% rate return, you would have 1.35 million. Okay. So instead of 31, let's say you start at 25, but do $5,000 a year, 8.5% rate of return. Now you're going to have 2.2 million. So you may say 2.2 million, Adam, great. But Adam, if I retire in 70, that's 45 years. 2.2 million bucks won't be worth that much in 45 years. Maybe right. You may be wrong, right? 40 something years ago, 2.2 million bucks was worth more than it is today. Sure. Okay. But I was alive, 40 years ago, and there was high inflation in the 80s, and 2.2 million was real money. Okay. Right. I remember it's like an Inside Sports magazine or Sports Illustrated where they had like $1 million contract assigned in baseball or football, something crazy. It's like, oh my God, someone made $1 million a year. Holy cow. Right now, like the worst player in the NBA makes more than $1 million. So I agree. But 2.2 million is still a lot of money today. I can do a lot of really good things with 2.2 million bucks. Buy a great house, great second house, a lot of great stuff. My kids can use it to pay for school. I could buy both my kids' houses. Okay. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. Will 2.2 million in 40 years be worth less than it is today? Yes, but it's still going to be worth something, and it's still going to be tax-free if it's in a Roth. And guess what? It's still better than zero if you did nothing. And you said, you know what? I'm going to take the 5K a year and go to Vegas and hang out and go to clubs and party. Or when I'm older, I'll take that 5K and go on a golfing trip with the buddies or whatever. I get it. You're going to have to make some sacrifices, right? Maybe not all of you will. Maybe some of you say, you know what? It's just $5,000 extra that would be in my taxable savings account in the bank. I'll just keep it in the IRA. And that would be great. But I'm not going to sit here and say everyone's got loads of money flowing in and $5,000 is meaningless. No, $5,000 is real money and people can do a lot of great stuff with it. But that's what I'm saying. If you just have patience, you trust the process, you make small sacrifice, but remember, it's a sacrifice for the future. It's kind of like life insurance. It's kind of like medical insurance, right? You're paying it for the future, especially life insurance. It costs money, whether it's $1,000, a few $1,000 for your policy, but you're hoping that, God forbid, when you pass, you have it and your family can benefit from it. A Roth IRA is like life insurance. Okay. It may not be as guaranteed, but it could be tax-free. You can use it during your life, where life insurance, in most cases, like term life, you can't. You got to die to benefit from it. Your heirs will benefit from it. Here in a Roth IRA, once you're over 59 and a half and it's a Roth, you can use it tax-free. So you can do whatever you want with it tax-free, or you can just leave it for your family, your kids, so they can use it tax-free. So let me just get back to the heart of today's podcast is 5-year retirement plans are rubbish. They're BS. Impossible. Nothing worthwhile. If you want to generate significant wealth, it can happen in 5 years. Okay. It's not going to happen. So you have to understand that. And you have to say, listen, I may look at my account every 5 years. And honestly, my IRA and 401k, I look at it every quarter for like a minute because I'm in it for long term. I may adjust some of the investments, but I'm pretty aggressive in my retirement account investing. Maybe as I get older, I'll be less, but right now I'm super aggressive. I max out my 401k at work. I do it back to a Roth IRA every year, do it for my spouse. Some years do it for my kids if they have enough income, if they have any income. And I invest it. I like alternatives, so I diversify. I don't just buy S&P 500, but my kids don't have a lot of money, so I just buy S&P 500. And I just let it sit there. And the idea is that, hey, the earlier they start, if they can just put in a few $1,000 a year, they'll have $1 million when they're old, and they won't even feel it. $5,000 is more. That's more of a sacrifice than $1,000. Like, here's a crazy example. If you're 18 years old, summer job, you just put in $1,000 a year, and you say, you know what, from 18 to 70, I'm going to do $1,000 a year. Not even going to increase it, just $1,000. I'll just write a check to my Roth IRA for $1,000 every year from 18 to 70, 8.5% rate of return. You'll have $806,000. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, if you did in a taxable account, 25% tax rate, only $374. So number one, save it in a Roth, save it in an IRA, save it in a 401k. Why? Because if you work at a company and they offer a 401k, they're generally going to give you at least a 3% match. So if you make 50K and you put in 3%, that's $1,500. Company will give you a free $1,500 contribution. So you double up. Okay, like IRA Financial, we do 4%. Some companies do 3%, most do 3%. Some will do 4 or 5. So always save in a 401k if you have access to one. If you can also save in an IRA, pre-tax or Roth, do so. Try to get to the max you can, the most you can. Obviously, everyone's max is a little different, and that's fine. And just know that the system's guaranteed to work. It's just going to take time. Time after time. It takes time. Be patient, trust the process. You'll sleep well at night. Peek at your statements every quarter. Have fun with it, and just know that in the future, and it's going to be a while, and hopefully you have a very fruitful, energetic, prosperous, healthy, amazing life. But just know that this is going to supplement your Social Security, will supplement any other savings you have. It's money in the bag, and it's tax-free, and it's going to only cost you a couple grand a year. And based off time value of money, compounded returns, deferral, power of mathematics, algebra, you're going to be rich when you retire. So hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Sorry, I kind of lied to you in this title. There's no such thing as a 5-year retirement plan. But hopefully that got you listening or watching. And hopefully now you realize that it's going to take time. No BS. It's going to take time. It's going to be worth it. You're going to be rich when you retire. You're going to have a great life. Hopefully you're healthy. And God willing, you can enjoy it, your family, your kids. And if you do it in the Roth IRA, it's all going to be tax-free. So it's like a living life insurance policy that if you die, your kids or your spouse could use it tax-free as well. And doesn't cost a lot to do. So thanks a lot for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hope you enjoy the content. We pump 3 to 4 videos a week on YouTube Live and 3 podcasts. So there's always a lot of great stuff on self-directed retirement accounts, alternative assets, solo K, self-directed IRAs, IRS rules, tax court cases, anything involving retirement accounts and alts, or just retirement accounts in general. This is the place to be online. So thanks again for hanging out with me today. Have a great day, and I'll see everyone again, please, next week.